When Billy was still a child, two tragedies struck him on the same night. First, his grandfather died before his eyes in a nursing home. Then, on the way home, a psychopath dressed as Santa Claus attacked his family and murdered his parents. Years pass, Billy grows up, and now, guided by a voice in his head, he kills people himself, donning a Santa Claus costume. He is constantly on the move, but one day he decides to stay in the small town of Hackett, where his attention is caught by a girl named Pam. Billy gets a job as an assistant at the store where she works, but can he stop killing? The original Silent Night, Deadly Night, released in 1984, was a rare example of a slasher whose protagonist was the killer himself, and whose creator seemed to make a sincere attempt to trace how childhood trauma can turn an ordinary person into a murderer. The film opened on the same day as A Nightmare on Elm Street, and although it ultimately lost the box office battle to Wes Craven's now cult classic, Silent Night, Deadly Night proved popular enough to launch a full-fledged franchise. 4 sequels followed the first film, though starting with the 4th entry, the series veered off in a completely different direction. In 2012, an official remake appeared under the simpler title Silent Night, but its creators avoided delving into the killer's psychology, turning the film into a Scream-like slasher in which police hunt a murderer dressed as Santa Claus. The new remake of Silent Night, Deadly Night is closer to the original, in that the story is once again told from the killer's point of view, but with a major difference that would be a spoiler to explain outright. Suffice it to say that things here are not quite what they seem. The voice in Billy's head is there for a reason, and his choice of victims is anything but random. The new Silent Night is a rare example of a successful remake that preserves the core ideas of the original, while infusing them with contemporary urgency. Trauma still serves as the trigger, but writer-director Mike P. Nelson is less interested in where it comes from than in how one lives with it afterward. An especially relevant angle for a generation whose defining fetish is the search for, articulation of, and work through trauma. Billy and Pam form an unsettling duo who process their past in very different ways. Billy accepts the voice in his head and gives himself over to it, while Pam tries to build a life alongside her own scars. They are a deeply resonant, disarmingly likable pair of broken yet unyielding accidental superheroes, with heightened sensitivity to reality, and the actors portraying them, Rohan Campbell and Ruby Modine, incidentally the daughter of actor Matthew Modine, deliver outstanding performances. Encountering this level of emotional depth and authenticity in what initially appears to be a run-of-the-mill slasher is genuinely surprising, and it's the film's primary draw. But it is still a slasher, produced by Cineverse, the studio that turned Terrifier 2 and Terrifier 3 into box office hits. Mike P. Nelson doesn't reach the same level of blood-soaked extremity as Terrifier 3, but he delivers a brutally effective and highly entertaining genre horror film, one where horror elements are tightly interwoven with dark comedy. The filmmaker's sense of humor is best encapsulated in a scene where Billy goes on a killing spree at a Christmas gathering of Nazis dressed as Santa Claus. What makes Silent Night unique, however, is that this scene isn't shock for shock's sake. By the finale, when the narrative puzzle pieces fall into place, it becomes clear that the scene is also a crucial part of the character's psychological portrait. For this virtuosic handling of drama alone, the film deserves a strong recommendation, and one can only hope Nelson doesn't stop here. After all, Christmas comes around every year,